It's Saturday morning. It's 9 o'clock. We all know what that means. Yes! It's time for the Monster Magic Saturday show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woohoo! Hello, everybody. Oh, it's great to be back on the boat. I hope you all enjoyed last week's show. It was a little bit different. It was filmed in front of a live studio audience at the Chris Congreve convention up in Cannock, which I have to say was a blinding weekend. I think everyone really enjoyed it. If you don't know Chris Congreve, he has been one of the UK's top workers for weddings and close-up magic for many years. He's still quite young, obviously, and he got some of his friends together. He's very well connected, and you had some of the UK's best magicians doing some lectures, a great variety in the lectures, from mentalism from Mark Elston and Michael Murray. You got close up from the great Gary Jones, James Brown, who really dipped into the psychology of magic really well, and how we should think about our magic more. It was almost like a TED talk in places. And Rod Hogg, all the way from Ireland. Rod Hogg is a terrific magician, and his lecture was also incredible. But the best bit about it was it really brought people together. People were chatting and mingling, and I think a lot of new friends were made. So well done to Chris Congreve for his convention. But now we're back, and it's a regular review show. And first up, we've got Entourage by Gordon Bean. This is a genius trick, I shall tell you right now. It's a packet trick. Gordon Bean's very well known for his packet tricks. I think Joker Jokers, Bikes, limited edition, which he sort of did with Larry Jennings. This is a sort of new release from Penguin. I think it first came out in the early 2000s. Gordon Bean was very popular in the sort of mid-90s, late 90s, early 2000s, produced a lot of really clever material, and wrote for various publications. This effect has a brilliant hook. You say to your participant that you have a face-down queen between two face-up jokers, and you ask them to name any queen. You then pull out the little packet of 6 cards. You show that you've got 4 face-down cards between the two face-up jokers. They remove 3 of them. You turn over the one that they've left between the jokers, and it is the very queen that they have named. They turn over the cards that they are holding, and they are all jokers. It's so powerful and so easy. Yes, they can really name any queen they like. It will always be correct. There's no equivoque, there's no force, there's no funny business like that at all. There is just one simple, really easy move that is discrepant, but it flies by. And if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the move, and it has probably flown by you. It is, I don't know quite how Gordon's managed it, but he's done something that I don't think anyone else has done, has being able to have a card between 2 other cards switch to one of 4. Very clever thinking indeed. What is also amazing about this trick is that despite its simplicity, the tutorial is an hour long, and you're in the capable hands of Nick Lecapo as he runs through various different setups and handlings and sort of other ways you can do the move should you wish. Some of those come from other people who've just been working this trick a lot. So you got Carl Leon and Gary Freed. Gary Freed, who did NFW, which is again one of the best packet tricks you'll ever likely to see. And one of the best bits is actually Gary's cleanup for this, where you reset it in front of the audience, but it adds an even more fooling element and makes the trick even more baffling. Very clever and well worth doing. Let me show you what you get. So you get a decent bunch of cards, funnily enough. You also get the instructions, which I should put over there, but these are the cards. They are bicycle jokers, and they are red back. So if you want to get into this from a deck, you can do something like a queen production, or you know, cutting the queens or anything like that. Anything that ends with the 4 queens, you can then just switch in these gimmicks. That's quite a nice organic way of getting into it. Now, if you're going to do the trick, you just need these cards here. I can't show you the other sides of these, but you probably get an idea if you're familiar with card magic of what's on here. They are very well printed, you know, bicycle stock, bicycle cards. You also get a little sort of a King of Hearts and an Ace of Hearts as well for a bonus routine called Psychic Blackjack, which is a really good routine as well. So you get sort of 2 tricks for the price of 1. Now, as I mentioned, gimmicks are involved, so you don't end completely clean. Your participant cannot handle the cards that you're left with, but psychologically in their head, they feel that they could have done, because obviously they've chosen any 3 cards from between the 2 jokers. So in theory, the cards you're holding must be legit because they could have actually picked them out. So it's very, very clever, and it is just baffling. And the idea that these gimmicks are present just does not occur to, certainly not to the layperson. And even if you as a magician watch it, I think you'll struggle to see how you could get the 4 reveals so cleanly with just those 3 cards. It is really, really clever. And if you do the Carl Leon version, you actually give them the 4 face down cards to shuffle and mix up first as well. So it does feel like they've handled all of the cards. Oh, I forgot, you also get a black envelope as well. You don't have to use the black envelope, but the only thing you really need, so apart from the slightly discrepant move, which is a doddle to do, believe me, just do it casually, the only other thing is the orientation of the cards, which the envelope can help you with. It's a brilliant trick. It's as simple as that. It's easy to carry. The tutorial is thorough, easy to learn. The bonus handlings are a real bonus, and the extra trick of Psychic Blackjack is really, really good too. It is, I think, an absolute steal at $16.99. It's Gordon Bean's Entourage. Next up, it's Digital by Armin Abir and Mark Mason. This is a nice little card trick. The effect is you show a prediction in an envelope, and you then have a card selected and lost in the deck. You claim to have found that card by showing the wrong card. Before the spectator can correct you, you also show that your prediction matches the wrong card you've chosen. They then tell you the correct card. Your prediction visually changes into their card, and then you turn over the card you've laid down on the table, and it is also the correct card, their selection. This is really a very basic card trick of showing the wrong card and changing it into the correct card, using a very popular move that I think everyone knows, dressed up nicely by adding a gimmick that does a nice little visual change of a prediction. Now, the basic card trick, actually, using that move, that changing of a wrong card into the right card, is very, very powerful for lay people. Sometimes that's all you need to do to really impress people. So from that point of view, it's a great trick right from the start. The actual gimmick, the changing of the prediction, is really, really nice too, and you can clean it up so that you can hand it out at the end. Not to take away, obviously, because you'll be losing your card, but you can do that if you want to, and that cleanup is very easy as well. And you think you probably want to. I think you probably want to. Let me show you what you get. So what is nice in here is actually just that Mark has given you everything that you need. So you do get a double backer, which will help with the cleanup. Again, it's very common, but it's nice that it's included. This is the card that you will switch out to be to match their prediction. So you do actually have to force a card as well. Now, Mark teaches the force, the handlings, the controls, everything. And Mark keeps things really simple, as you probably should with your card magic. If you don't need to do a difficult move, don't do a difficult move. And Mark's teaching is great. The tutorial is actually split up into several videos, each just about a minute or 2 minutes long. So if you want to go back and check something out, you can very quickly and very easily. So that's the card. It's printed on standard rider back card, so that's what you're going to be using. Just get your standard red bike deck, and this is the gimmick. There you go. It's not perfectly inspectable, as it were. That's the back. You're never really going to show anyone the back. The back just helps with the cleanup as well. It's not perfect, so you don't really want it to be sort of still or for people staring at it for too long. But to be honest, you pull it out of the envelope, you show that it's wrong, you then visually change it, which is very easy to do, and then you can switch it out. Or then it turns, but then you direct them towards the card that's on the table, and then you do the switch out. So it's not really stationary in their view for very long, and they don't know what's going to happen. So there's very little suspicion here anyway. Construction wise, it's really well made, it's really robust. I think it could be slightly more, there's something slightly annoying that I think might have made it even more deceptive, but other than that, it's great. It's as long as you use it exactly how it's meant to be used, it's not going to break on you. Mark doesn't teach how to fix it. You could probably struggle through how to do it should the worst happen, but like I say, unless you've done something silly, it'll keep working forever. As I said, the core magic trick itself of the card that you pull out changing into their card is strong, good magic. Anyway, I like this visual change. You don't have to do it visually. You can turn your hand down and change it and go, was it that one? If you wish. Whether or not you'd actually ever write a prediction like that is probably the only thing I would say. But I don't think that occurs to anyone during the course of a magic trick anyway, of just the fact that this card does look a bit odd. I think it's a prediction and I think it flies. The way the gimmick works is actually really quite clever, and it's a nice card trick. It is easy to do, it is well taught, and you'll probably have a lot of fun performing it. It is digital by Abir, $24.99. Next up, it's Level Up by Craig Petty. Yes, Craig is back! I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. Now, Level Up is Craig's attempt to get away from coins, but still do coin magic, but with a perhaps, I suppose, more organic object than coins are becoming. I did a Facebook post actually about how what we traditionally use in magic these days, which was sort of money and coins and so on, even playing cards possibly are beginning to become less popular. Craig is combating that with the idea of Nintendo Switch games. Now, I'm not that familiar with the Nintendo Switch. I'm sure I've seen people playing them, don't really know exactly what the games genuinely look like, but having watched the tutorial and everything else, I can see that these are pretty much a very, very close replica. You get a nice case, a nice carbon fiber case, and you get your Nintendo. So they can't actually say Nintendo on here for various reasons, but if I show you one of the games, so this is I've got my glasses on, I'll try and get as close as possible for you. So this is Penguin Paradise. There you go. So that's the front, and there's sort of one letter different in the sort of Nintendo section, Nintendo branding, which no one's going to notice. That's the back, and really, yeah, I can see that I would believe this is something that you put inside a console. I know I need glasses, but that looks very much like the Nintendo logo to me. These will fly, they will pass. Certainly people aren't going to be suspicious of that. And even the idea that you've got some fake Nintendo console games would just be nonsense, wouldn't it? The reason you've got so many holders here is because one of the tricks actually requires you to add some games of your own, which shows just how legit these look, that you can get away with mixing them with genuine Nintendo stuff. So now these three are completely legit, as it were, and this is your gimmick here, which works very similar to a copper silver coin, which I'm sure Craig's probably tipped already what what this gimmick is. So you get the main routine, which is the one that Craig does most often, and that's a multi-phase transpo routine. You put one in each hand and they change places. You then repeat it slightly more openly. You then make them switch back, and you then do it quite visually with a little sort of wave change, and then you do it in the spectator's hands. There's a lot of magic in that main routine going on, nice and quickly. It is really punchy, and it's great, and it's really easy to do. The gimmick does most of the work for you, and Craig also teaches several easy ways to clean up, so you can end up with them examining them at the end. So it's a great circular routine, works really well, it's very easy to do, and I imagine, like Craig, it's going to be the one you're doing most often. He then drifts off into all the other routines. So you have a little 2 cartridge trick, which is a little bit like hopping halves. You then have the chip trick, which is a bit like 2 in the hand, 1 in the pocket. You have thanks to Roth, which uses the Roth switch. You then have thanks to Cam, which uses a purse frame. So you can see where this is going, sort of combination of classic coin magic, but with these cartridges. You have one of the highlights of the project, which is Shades of Imagination 2.0, which is based on a trick that is so good Craig uses it in his competition act. It is not that hard, and there's a lot of amazing magic in it. So if you really wanted to up your game from the main routine, then do check out Shades of Imagination. Put in just a little bit more work. After Shades of Imagination, you have a trick called My Two Faves, which is really good. It's nice and it's quick and it's baffling, and uses Jay Shanky's point and transfer switch. You then go on to Penguin Punch, which is a mentalism routine, very similar to Hawaiian Punch by John Bannon, hence the name. Which uses the double facer in a very nice way, and also that is why you require extra slots. This is the routine where you will have some genuine Nintendo cartridges with you to mix in with the gimmick. Very easy to do, but a great trick. You then have Creation, which is a lot of fun and uses a deck of cards. You write some instructions down on a deck of cards, and that is how you perform your routine. There's a lot of fun and a lot of mileage you can get out of that, and you can really play around with the plot if you like. And finally, you have a trick called Triple, which is very coin-esque like the rest. And after all of that, you then get Craig teaching you every sleight that you need, and it's a bit of a coin masterclass, but with these cartridges. These cartridges, you can do all of the coin sleights with almost easier than coins. They don't talk, which is nice. So obviously, if you're ever familiar with coins, and unless you're trying to do the click pass, it can be annoying when they tap together and they make a very audible noise. You don't get that with these. They slide over nicely. I'm surprised Craig didn't do a free fly now thinking about it. And so they're pretty easy to handle. The size makes things easier possibly, but I was worried about the shape, because obviously with the finger palm you're fine, it doesn't really matter which orientation it is, but obviously with coins and so on, they're symmetrical and they're circular, so it doesn't matter. But even palming these in a classic palm, still use your fingers, whether it's the either orientation works. I'm not sure, that's probably just either because they've got nice edges or because they're quite light. They will just take a bit of getting used to. If you are a coin worker, you can do exactly the same stuff, they just handle slightly differently, obviously, and their weight's not there, so it'll take a little bit of getting used to. But really, the routines aren't that sleight heavy, and they are just basic sleights, and they are easy to do, and they are really well taught by Craig. My favorite is Roth's switch, which, as Craig points out, is little known, and Jay Sankey's point and transfer switch, which is really good, not difficult at all, and has got me thinking. Actually, I'd forgotten about that move, but it really does open up a lot of possibilities. One little niggle is that obviously these are all mainly black, and the big difference is going to be in the color of the game, and my game is different. My copper silver, as it were, is different to the one Craig uses. Craig's is a mixture of Orbis and Penguin one, and mine is Orbis and this chauffeur one, which isn't quite as much contrast. So that's a little bit annoying. I would have loved my gimmick to have the penguin on the back, but otherwise I'm really impressed with the gimmicks that you get, and I really do appreciate the case, especially if you're going to do something like Penguin Punch. The one thing you've got to consider really is your audience. I'm still going to be sticking to Coin Magic, honestly, but if I had, a family with nieces and nephews, or people who've got young children who see these games a lot, this would be absolutely ideal. If you work in family restaurants, as Craig says, it's great. Family gatherings, if you've got a mixture of ages, then this really is probably ideal. So I would say it's aiming really for the family hobbyist or the professional who's working a lot of restaurants which families go to. The really nice thing is that if you are a hobbyist, the variety of routines on here are enough and good enough to keep you coming back to this project time and time again. Learn Craig's main routine first of all, and then perhaps a week later you can go and learn my two faves or creation or the Penguin Punch, put Penguin Punch together, and it's something that you'll probably be drawn to come back and keep doing, so it sort of bears repeating. It is quite pricey, but what you get is really well made. There's no 3D printing going on here, and with Craig's teaching, as ever, there's always something there that will make you a slightly better magician. That is Level Up by Craig Petty, $47.99. And next up, we've got Julio Montoro's Organic Switchbox. This is something that Julio put together in a bit of a rush for Blackpool. It is a tic-tac box that you show has a playing card folded inside it. You have a card selected and lost in the deck, and then you open the tic-tac box and tip out their signed card. It's a nice idea. It is a really nice idea. Let me show you what you get. 1 second. You get a heavily gimmicked tic-tac box. It is kind of quite arts and crafty. It does look very homemade. It looks more delicate than it is, and Julio does run through on the tutorial how to fix it if you wish. You get some spare material in here to fix it with, and it is easy to fix actually of gimmicks using this stuff. This is one of the easiest to fix, and Julio actually breaks his and fixes it in the tutorial. It's quite a nice charming tutorial, by the way. Sort of filmed on his sofa, and he gives you a little tour of his apartment in the course of it, which is quite good fun. Now the visuals of this are great. You can have it on display the entire time before the card's selected and everything like that. You've only got a 180 degree, by the way. They can't see from this side, and there's a angle wise when you pull off the lid, the lid's got to go straight into your pocket, really, but it's undercover, and then you can tip out their folded card from inside. You will need to do a Mercury card fold, obviously, and control the card and so on, and Julio doesn't really teach any of that. In fact, there's no real routine with it. He just teaches what this bit does. And for the Mercury card fold, you're going to have to be pretty accurate because it's got to get into this box. To get it into the box, you've got pretty much the whole width of the box, but like you can see, it's quite tight for a folded card, so you're going to be scoring the cards. I've just put John Allen's perfect score to make sure you get a decent Mercury card fold on it. Visually, it looks absolutely great. It's just a little bit rushed to market. I think Julio would probably hold his hands up to that. It's not that it doesn't work. It doesn't do exactly what it says on the tin. There are just a few things that are a little annoying about it. Like I say, the tutorial doesn't really go into a routine with it, which is a shame. And also little things like, so the instruction piece of paper doesn't actually have the password on it, which is a little bit frustrating. And then otherwise, I suppose the only other thing is, because this can't be handled or put in a spectator's hands, I'm not sure it's got any real advantage over something like the Bob Austin clip or any other switching device, really, or paper clipped by Jay Sankey. So although it's clever and it works, I find it fiddly. So Julio suggests that you actually put this lid on properly. If I do that, I really struggle to get it off without opening the lid, and you don't want to open it. So for me, it's just a little fiddly for what it is. And also, do people really buy Tic Tacs? I don't know. I guess it's recognisable enough, and it is organic. Yeah, I'll give him that. But I kind of think it's a really good idea. It's a really good idea. It does work. I just don't think it's quite there yet. There's something bothering me about it. I think maybe it's just there are easier ways of achieving the same thing. But I think it probably deserves an organic box 2.0. But there you go. That is Organic Switch Box by Julio Montoro, $33.99. And finally, just quickly, I'd like to mention Steve Dela's Nightflight deck. I have done a Facebook post on this, so if you want more information, just go to the Monster Magic Facebook page, and there's quite a thorough review of this deck of cards. It's a marked deck of cards. The markings are larger than you'd normally expect. I'm not quite the size of DMC's, but they're pretty large, and you know that is great for me now because I am getting a little bit old and I need reading glasses, and I've been using the Penguin Mark deck for a long time, but they're now becoming difficult for me. These I can read across a table, and they've got they're not bicycle backs, but they're bicycle-esque, so that they look absolutely fine. And you know, I've played with these, I've shown these to people, and I've used them, and no one's ever mentioned the back design being in any way odd or funny. It's slightly gothic, but it's not odd or funny, and nor have they mentioned the cardstock. And that is what I really want to talk about here, because this is what impressed me most with these cards, is that these are plastic, which means if they get in a little bit of water on the table, you know, the residue from the bottom of the glass, all of that stuff, you can just wipe it off with these. So they are great everyday cards to carry around, and they handle just as well as an ordinary deck of cards. They do feel a bit odd, they sound a bit odd, but it's all in your mind, really. And if you just play with them for a couple of minutes, you'll be able to do everything you can do with your ordinary deck of cards with these. Obviously, if you are a knuckle busting Buck Twins kind of person, then maybe not. But you know, for anything from Pharaohs to your double lifts and everything else, these are fine. They've got a one-way design in as well. The box has revelations all over it. You've got most quick a Ten of Spades revelation on the bottom, plus a crib for the Magic Square, which is a great little touch. Got 1089 force there. I'm just pleasantly surprised by how good these are. And at $24.99, they are quite a bit more expensive than an ordinary deck of cards, or even the Penguin marked deck, but they will last a lot longer, and you just don't have to worry about them. And I think Steve might well be right in claiming that these are the fastest cards to read. That is the Nightflight deck by Steve Dela, $24.99.
This show is awful, terrible, disgusting. See you next week, of course.
And that's it for this week's show, I'm afraid. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got some lovely plans for the weekend. But what I really, really would love you to do is to grab some magic, to go out there and have some fun with the best hobby in the world. Bye-bye.